Development cooperation is intimately tied with foreign policy, and so it's only natural that our next speaker is Ms. Federica Mogherini, the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Please, Ms. Mogherini.
I will not challenge you with my Italian, I guess. President, Prime Minister, Ministers, Commissioners, Members of Parliament, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and friends. 2015 is the European Year for Development, now officially open. And I would like to thank Latvia and the Latvian presidency for organizing this launching event today, and also, and particularly, for the words that the Prime Minister pronounced today about the need to make this year not just a European Union institutions year, but a European year, reaching out to the people everywhere, to the European citizens, and probably far beyond the European citizens, to make it sure that it's a year that involves all, with the help and support and the major role of civil society, starting from NGOs, but also media, think tanks, universities, public opinion in general. 2015 is an essential year not only for development, but for two major world governance processes. Sustainable Development Goals framework that will be renewed after 2015, during 2015, the post-2015 agenda, and climate change negotiations. So the agenda is this year is now global and universal. And I think it is a great chance to move away from the traditional North-South logic. We have three challenges in front of us this year, and with this year for the next decades probably. One, whether the emerging economies and other advanced developing countries accept to take more responsibilities in terms of their own commitments and also in terms of support to others in the new framework. The second challenge is for ourselves. It's not only changes in the South that we need, it's also changes in our societies, in our policies that we need in order to be ready for internal changes. It's somehow the next step of what people that work in the development field refer as policy coherence, made also internal. We need to change some of our internal policies, some of our internal behaviors, some of our internal attitudes to make sure that the new framework, the new goals, also tackles inequalities and poverty in the northern part of the world. And third challenge is to address all the dimensions of sustainable development. Ensure a rights-based approach, address structural economic transformation, sustainable management of natural resources, climate change, sustainable consumption and production, gender equality, good governance, democracy, rule of law, as well as peaceful societies and freedom from violence. The UN post-2015 agenda is a case in point for such a comprehensive view. Not only does it combine poverty eradication and sustainable development, it also seeks to address the structural causes for the non-fulfillment of the goals. It has been mentioned in the beginning that we live now in a far better world than it was some decades ago. Still, we know also that some of the goals have not been met, and I think this year is the good chance to look at why the goals that we haven't met yet haven't been met. And the structural causes for non-fulfillment in many cases lies in bad governance, inequalities, non-respect for human rights, and violent and unsafe societies. With the Millennium Development Goal framework, we have learned that setting goals can help in mobilizing critical political will and resources for development, and I would underline resources, which are never enough and should be enough, and also further development progress. However, the Millennium Development Goals did not adequately address the way development, human rights, and peace and security interact for sustainable outcome. Evidence clearly shows that violence and security are not only in themselves a dramatic and unacceptable phenomenon in our society, being it in crisis area or being it in the very same heart of Europe. Violence and insecurity have also undermined sustainable development in the attainment of the Millennium Development Goals. On average, it is estimated that a country that experienced major violence over the period from 1981 to 2005 has a poverty rate 21% higher than a country that saw no violence. Without peace, it is also much harder for countries to sustainably manage their natural resources, build resilience to natural disasters. The challenge goes far beyond fragile and conflict-affected states, however, as it is estimated that worldwide each year over 1.4 million people lose their lives to violence. And I think that today it is of great importance what some of us were here, Je suis Charlie, and the minute of silence we have started our meeting with. I think we have to realize more and more how things are interconnected, internally and externally, and how much the challenge that President Juncker just described of our new Commission trying to work hand in hand in all different sectors, being it internal or external, is vital for our own interest and security, not only for the benefit of the rest of the world. But experience also shown that failure to establish legal frameworks consistent with human rights standards, as well as poor governance, can become key obstacles to sustainable development. It will be important, so, to build and strengthen transparent and democratic institutions, especially for fragile states. Effective, responsive, and accountable institutions that deliver services, give people a voice, and uphold human rights and the rule of law are fundamental to free people from fear of violence, provide personal security, and avoid impunity. Taking a rights-based approach across the post-2015 agenda will be a necessity. Along the same lines, let me say one word about the fact that we all know that the empowerment of women and girls and gender equality are essential for progress on poverty eradication and sustainable development. We know that, but sometimes we don't necessarily coherently work on that. When we secure the rights of women and girls, we are not only investing in equal societies, we are also untapping the potential of at least I would say half of the world's population, with a multiplying effect in societies and within societies. The way we deal with these fundamental issues will determine whether we manage or not to take development to another level, to a different level than it has been so far. Now, if we are successful this year, 2015 could become a silent landmark in the world's history. It is a challenge not only for institutions, not only for governments or European institutions or parliaments, it's a challenge for every citizen. We can all do our part, and we should all do our part, because it's not charity, it's our own interest to have a more developed and sustainable world. I would say could become a silent landmark in the world's history, just as 1815 is considered the start of contemporary era. If we are successful in this crucial year, 2015 could be considered the start of a new year, the era where mankind sat together, taking and sharing equally responsibilities to make sure that our planet is maintained for the enjoyment of all, this generation and the future generations. This is what the European Year for Development 2015 is about, and I wish you all to work very successfully together to make it a success. Thank you very much.